fasten your belts and your stunner stair lift, and turn up your hearing aid to 12, because this is Project Nigel.
Hebden Bridge,
That's right.
the cutest little village in the north. Well, hello, and in today's video I find myself reacquainted with an old friend. I don't mean a human, I mean a car. A car that I have previously owned, really liked, and got a little bit of stick for. A car that suited my every need. Yet I had to move on, not because I wanted to do, but because I had to do. The car is a diesel. It's also an estate with leather seats, and it's not British. That's because it's this Audi A6. I'm going to do with this car now exactly what you'd expect me to do. We're going to have to fix this, and Johnny didn't even take advantage and change that from 190e to Subaru. Externally, a lot better. Box for shopping, briefcase, dog area. It's back to looking like a nice car. I liked it before. I liked it when it was dirty. In fact, I said to Johnny, this car suits being dirty, but not when I'm using it. In fact, it's not really clean enough because I've missed a bit there. Time will indeed tell whether this car works out to have been the best thing or not, because there is a big part of me that thinks, what have I done this for? Well, it's obvious, because I like the Audi. I like that more than the Rover 75. I remember saying that in a video at the time, that this is a better car. It has some different faults, but it is actually a better car. It doesn't look as nice, but it is better. It's more economical, and I just like it a lot. I'm going to enjoy having this stereo back and the rather excellent fuel economy. Naughty truck driver, I'd expect better from you. Here it is, the Audi A6 Avant 1.9 TD thingy, called Alexander. It's Alexander Audi. My previously owned car, previously owned and very much loved, and only moved on to my friend Johnny because of a situation where we desperately needed money for the rent. Come about as a rather special deal that could only really work between Johnny and me. As a Rover man, Audi have never been really much of a priority as cars to have or like. You know, I've just always associated them with bad drivers and bad attitudes, but the A6 was different. So briefly, I grew a great respect for the A6 C5 when I did a test drive in my friend's C5 estate that had 380,000 miles on the clock, and I was interested in driving it because of that one fact, that it had so many miles. And how did a German car from the 90s cope with that kind of thing? Because I don't think any of them are made for that kind of thing now. And I was pleasantly surprised, not only by the fact that it was still all screwed together, but just I liked the character of the car. So when the opportunity for this one came up originally, I jumped at it because I thought, I reckon I'll get along with that, and I really did. It has a few niggles, but then the car that's 19 years old is supposed to have niggles. So when it came to having to sell this car, it wasn't what I wanted to do, but the other thing I had for sale didn't want to sell. So it was kind of a matter of not having really much choice about it. Big, safe, trustworthy family car with so much room that I don't even know how they managed to make the car so big on the inside. Well, actually I do. I mean, it's probably the same length as the Rover 75 Estate, but it hasn't got a long bonnet, or not particularly long anyway. So the room is on the inside rather than the outside, and I think that's the best place for it. Best place to have some room is in your car, not outside of your car, where it is completely pointless, etc. In the previous video, you may well have seen Johnny and I take a trip to a place called Hinckley, where he bought himself a Subaru Legacy, one of his favourite cars, and a car that really does suit him very much. So this, completely surplus to requirements. Over the past couple of months or so, Johnny has been telling me about the things that have started going wrong with this car. But after all, he's put 8,000 miles on it. That's a fair whack in just a few months. But the thing is though, Johnny, as much as I like him, he doesn't half worry about stuff. I mean, he worries about things to an insane level. If I didn't like him, I'd find him really annoying, to be honest. He's been worrying about the tyres. He's been worrying about the suspension. He's been worrying about this window because it doesn't work any longer. And he's been worrying about, I think he calculated it was going to cost him a bit too much to really sort this car out, and probably more than what the car's actually worth. But I suspect that it might just have been, well, overthinking. I was expecting to get into this car and think, oh gosh, it bounces and clonks all over the place, but well, it just seems to be okay. It's still quite comfortable, still quite torquey. I mean, with the exception of having no lumbar support for the driver's seat, which it didn't come with that in the first place, so it's not like it's broken and fallen off. It's still perfectly okay, I'm sure of it. This was one of those cars I never actually got bored with. And you'd think, to look at it, it would be one of those that you never even start off liking it that much. Never mind get bored with it. I mean, you wouldn't get the opportunity to get actually bored with it because you didn't like it in the first place. But no, kind of the other way around. Just find it quite an endearing little thing. Big thing. Ah, look at that old Beetle. Now I can get back to messing around with the trip counter. Unlike Bill, my diesel Rover 400, which is very good on fuel. No idea really how good on fuel it is unless you fill it up, drive it, and then fill it back up again. But even that wouldn't work actually, because it just clicks a bit too much. You know, if you fill your tank up and it gets to that point with the first click, well, with that, no, you start putting the fuel in and it clicks straight away like it's already full. Of course it isn't. It's probably almost empty. I was always really happy with the fuel consumption on this car. Johnny was always banging on about how many miles per gallon he's getting on these trips that get him 58 miles per gallon and not even driving that sensibly. It's just what you need, isn't it? It's just what I need. It's just what he needed. Now he hasn't got it. He's got a petrol Subaru. He's going to miss the fuel economy of this car. I know I did straight away actually when I sold it to him. I can't remember what I was driving instead. It was a small petrol. I thought, oh no, I need to put more fuel in it now. Like quite a lot. May well pass another MOT. And when is that, by the way? I must be a way off, because it was rather hot when I originally got this car. Yes, at the time the aircon was needed, so it's going to be a few months of MOT left at least. Are you lost, Hyundai Kona? Hyundai Kona? Are you lost with your electric vehicle? Perhaps you're running out of electricity, but you're going exceedingly slowly. Back enjoying the old punchy diesel thing again. Every time Johnny came around to my workplace in this, I found myself thinking, oh, I'd really like that back. And you know what, I don't know if I told you about this. We was going to do a deal. When I had that Freelander that I got off Boaty, he suggested swapping this for the Freelander. And I said, yeah, I'd do it. But I also said, I don't think you'll get along with it. I don't think you'd have got along with the Freelander. And so eventually he just said, yeah, I think you're right. Right, that's again. Over the course of this video, you shall see me investigate all of the things that are wrong with this car. The things that are wrong, the things that might be wrong, the things that I'm concerned with, and the things I'm going to decide probably aren't really a problem after all. There's bound to be a few, isn't there? So the two things so far that I feel isn't quite right is it is a bit, does sound a bit shock absorbering at the back, and it's a bit grindy under acceleration. Maybe that's just what this engine is and I've forgotten that that's what it feels like. Could well be that actually. My favourite 30 to 50 section coming up, and 30, 50. Not bad. Nowhere near as quick as that L series though.
The obligatory a bit later on.
Things to report for definite then. The tyres aren't bald. I thought they might have been by now, so that's okay. There is definitely a little bit of a thunk from the back. I've been driven it around a bit more, and there's a bit of clicky on the drive shaft. It's not very loud, but it's definitely there. Oh, and the headlining's still saggy. And the windscreen wiper blades need replacing. They're still doing an adequate job, but they're just rather noisy. The next thing I've got to do is move some cars about at home, because yes, I am back in a position where I do have a few too many cars again. But it's for my benefit this time. Well, I mean completely for my benefit. And, well, I've got two outside already, so that won't do, will it? That could potentially annoy somebody, and I don't want to annoy somebody. If I had remembered something about this car that made it not perfect for recording, and that is the low frequency vibration and hum coming through either the drive shaft or the wheels. But maybe as I've adjusted my microphone so it's a bit closer to my actual face, it won't be so much of a problem. We'll find out. Johnny is one of my best mates, he really is. I really get along great with Johnny. But he has a fault with him, which is indecision. He struggles with decisions, really badly. And it makes me look incredibly decisive. But that highlights one, I really want to change those, it really does highlight the fact that I need to decide what to do with other cars if I'm going to keep this. I can't get rid of the Tourer. I just don't really want to. Could I have that and this? For different purposes, you see, aren't they? I'm stuck in traffic, which is a ordinary and I'm stuck in traffic, which is a standard thing from my way home, pretty much any time of day. I've got about a third of a mile down this road. It's going to be just solid all the way. So I've reset the trip computer just to see how many miles per gallon I can get it down to. Might as well just have the radio on because this is going to take a while. But we're still doing 20 miles per gallon.